showtime!
For those of you who already saw my 5-star burst animation tier list, you may have already noticed, or maybe you were one of the people who pointed out that I left out Barbara and the Traveler. And while Barbara may not be a 5-star, she does have a cutscene like the 5-stars do, and the Traveler does not. They will be covered here on this list, however, and the rankings will be basically the exact same. If I put something in S here, it means I like it just as much as the S's I put in the 5-star list. And without a flashy cutscene to make it look even more special, that just means that a 4-star animation is really putting in the work to make it up there. So if you've not seen the 5-star one first, maybe go check that one out first or after. It doesn't really matter when you do, there's no continuity between them. I mean, except for me explaining why the Traveler is here and not on the 5-star one, even though he's a 5-star, but not really. Let's not lie to ourselves.
Let it rain.
You know, I am a sucker for an arrow rain. Generally back in the day, whenever I played RPGs with classes, I typically liked rangers, archers, and I loved when they had an arrow rain ability. And for as much as I love fire and arrow rains, and when you put them together, it's even better, Amber's burst just, you know, it doesn't exactly stack up to the other bursts in the game. It's kind of boring. For that, I think I'll drop her in like the C tier, just, you know, pretty average. It has been a long time since I've seen the Anemo Traveler's burst, and I gotta be honest, I remembered it being a little bit cooler. Even when it infuses, it's just kind of like eh. And the startup animation where you jump up in the air is really cool, but honestly, all that's gonna do for me is save it from being lower than a C. Just an average burst. I really cannot say enough good things about Barbara's burst. For a 4-star, it's insane. Like, not only does it get the special treatment for the cutscene, but the colors are amazing. The particle effects are nice. The little flies, the Hydra symbol on the ground, the colored stars, they all suit Barbara so damn well. And quite frankly, that literally goes for everything about Barbara's animations. Her auto attacks, her charge attack, her skill, it's all just so pretty. And I know I may have told some people in the comments that I give it like an A, but that was without seeing it in a while, and upon further review, it's an S. It's an easy S. Beto is one of those bursts that I gotta show off actually in combat, because otherwise it has like almost nothing going for it, especially if you don't also have the Z2 that adds the shield, which is in my opinion the best looking part of this burst. Otherwise, she's some very simple lightning bounces, which are okay, but nothing impressive, especially for a burst. Just because of the C2, I will give her a C, but otherwise it would be an F. Sorry Beto, but your skill is just way cooler. It's really hard to say if this is going to be controversial or not, because people just love to hate Bennett just because he's meta as hell and he's brain dead. But this burst is like a D. Honestly, like the thumbs up on the ground is cool and all, but it just doesn't really do it for me. I do think the like little flip he does in the air is cool, but if only it was as cool as the last Albedo Dragon Spine event we got. That cutscene was awesome. Not much to say about Chungyun other than it's some cool ass big ice sword smashing into the ground and shaking the screen. And what can I say? I like that. And either way, if you have the Constellation 6 and get the extra sword or not, I think this is an A tier burst animation.
Look at you, Ratheil.
Diona is what I would like to call one of those blink and you'll miss it kind of burst effects. There's nothing incredibly special about it as a whole, but when the cocktail first explodes, you get to see all kinds of little paws and stars go everywhere, and it's kind of cute. It really fits Diona's personality and her whole cat motif. And also the way she kicks the cocktail at the beginning is pretty cool too. For that, she gets to go be cryo buddies in A tier with Chungyun.
Following thunder!
I was 100% prepared to send Electro Traveler straight to the F tier because I remembered it being very unimpressive. But when I'm doing these things, I like to rewind the startup like over and over and over and over and over to see if I miss any small details. And I gotta say, the startup of this one is not too bad, but it's also nothing too impressive. It's enough to save it from F tier, but only to go to D tier. Now for Fischl's second skill, I was going into this list thinking it was going to be an S tier, but honestly I don't think it is. I like the whole screen distortion effect and all the lightning effects when you are Oz, but it is really not living up to the S tier, but I will give it an A. Now if only this actually had an use other than summoning a second Oz, which is great and all, but for a burst it sucks.
Dust.
I hate the ground effect of when it's summoning. I don't really like the structures that are summoned. I don't like the effects that happen when they pop out of the ground. This is just an easy F.
Press the advantage.
Goro's is one that I was prepared to send straight to the F tier and not give it bonus points just for having a cute puppy. But you know what? It does have a cute puppy. And the starting effects of it are kind of cool, even if they almost like barely get noticed. But I'll give him at least a C, just for the cute puppy.
Don't get frostbite.
I feel like this one is going to be the first controversial one that pisses people off because I think Kaya's is lame as hell. I mean, sure, I like spinning icicles and they're, you know, they're okay looking, but there's nothing fancy going on here, just like ambers, and I don't know. I'm giving this a D. Look, I get it. I know the starter characters are very precious to some of you, but Kaya's just isn't for me, okay? It's not you, Kaya. It's me. And then immediately to redeem the starter characters, Lisa's. I love this burst. The only thing stopping me from giving this an S tier is the lightning effects from the burst itself just aren't anything like that wow me, but I love the ground effect. I love the lantern itself. I loved how fast it attacks. It might be a little cooler at C4, but let's be honest, that is some Giga Whale shit, and I'm not quite there yet. But I would give this an easy A rank.
Your life is mine.
Okay, now hear me out for this one. Separate Ningguang's burst animation from how cool it is to see an enemy just get barraged with a bunch of rocks and judge it just on the animation alone. Is it that cool? Because I don't think so. I think this is an F tier one. Now, if this was based on how good they feel to cast, it would be S, but that's not what this is.
As a good knight should.
Here's where I had to remove some personal bias. I am a huge Noelle fan, and I love this giant sword. It is cool as shit to swing this massive thing around, especially with her charge attack being a gigantic Beyblade of death. But as far as animations go, there's nothing really special going on here, so I would land this in a solid B. Razor was like my first real main DPS, and you want to know why I picked Razor out of all the characters? It's because of this burst animation right here. This wolf that comes behind you is fucking awesome looking. I love what it does. I love how it looks. I love everything about it. This is an easy S rank. Rosaria is just another one of those bursts that kills it in literally every category. The startup, the actual particle effects, the on-field effect, the feel of it, everything is just on point, and for that, it's another easy S. So I had to like talk myself down from giving Sarah an S, and the way I did that is I just justified it by it literally does the same effect over and over again, and I kind of judge it like Ningguang's, where it just feels better to use than it actually looks. So for that, I will at least give it an A. A tier is kind of starting to look like the superconduct tier. Look, this thing may look kind of cute to some, and it may fit Sayu perfectly, but I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of any of this. This is an F. And unlike Kaya, I'm not sorry about it.
Animal hypostasis emulation.
Do I even really need to defend this one? Is there anyone out there who doesn't like this burst? And it gets even cooler when it infuses. Come on, this is an easy S tier.
I got you covered.
Tomo's another one of those ones that just wins in like every category. It is especially carried by pure style. Like the hand-drawn look of all the flames just makes it look so special. And I appreciate the shit out of that. And for that, he's an easy S tier. I can already see the comments about, oh, this is just like Kaya's. Why does this one get to be higher than Kaya's when they're basically the exact same thing? Well, to me, they're not the same. This looks a lot cooler than a few icicles circling around your character. And even then, I don't think this is that cool. I would just put her in like a solid B tier. And even then, I think I'm being generous.
Witness the power for what?
I originally was prepared to give Xingqiu like an F or a D. However, there is a major game changer. Right here at the start of the animation, you can actually see the sword spiral up into the air, and then one by one, you see water trails fly down as they come into place. And as someone who will sit here in Premiere, slightly change keyframes of a preset for like an hour until I think they are like perfect, I appreciate this small detail. For that, I will take him from my original intended like F and at least bump him up to a B, because actually, you know what? No, I appreciate enough. I'm moving him up to A. I think you either have to like really hate flashy things or just really, really hate Xinyan to not admit that this is probably the single coolest looking burst out of like everybody. 4 stars, 5 stars. It is so goddamn cool. It's obviously an easy S rank. Another burst with a kind of cool startup. Pretty effects fly everywhere, but that only gets us so far. That's so far being all the way into C tier. Again, just like with Yanfei, good startup. After that, not much. I mean, the circling flags are kind of cool looking, but to me, this is just another C tier one. As always, I would love to hear what your version of this list would be down in the comments. And remember that if you have not seen it, go check out the 5-star list that I made last week. Or maybe you'd rather hear me bitch for 8 minutes straight about how every girl character in this game that we can play wears heels of some kind. And you should, because I think it's pretty great. And I'm totally not biased. Not at all. Just an important message that needs to get out there. Anyway, thank you again for watching. Join my Discord if you want to talk in the Discord, which is what people do in Discord. You can support me on Patreon or by joining my channel as a member. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.